Hi, I figured I would do the second video today regarding events. Okay, I know I've been saying I'm gonna do this video and I haven't. So based on my experience doing events, okay? I'm not an expert in events. I don't do huge events like for say, like I do, what are the popular ones that are huge? Like the home and garden shows and things like that, like that are huge and cost a lot. I don't do those, okay? So disclaimer, I'm gonna start off with that. What I do is craft fairs, Christmas fairs. Right now we're getting into, what I've noticed is a lot of people are coming out, a lot of markets are coming back. And we're talking after COVID, right? It did take a while, at least for us locally, to start seeing those sprout out more and more. So now we're pretty much full on where we used to be before COVID, where we see markets like every weekend, okay? So first things first, because I get asked, so how do I look for an event? And like I mentioned before, what I use is gonna be Facebook, because that's usually the social media that I'm on a lot. Facebook, you might find them on Instagram. I don't use it, so I wouldn't be able to advise you on that, where to go on there. Facebook, neighborhood app actually posts whatever's going on in the neighborhood, so you might see events going on there. And churches, okay? And I'll explain each one by one. Facebook. So if you have a Facebook, you're gonna search, and I have posted this before in our team group. When you go to groups, you can hit the little search engine, and I'm doing it right now, and search vendor. So we would be vendors. That's what we're called. Whenever you're looking for an event, you're a vendor. It's called like vendor spots. When you see them advertised, you'll see, you know, looking for vendors for an event, for a craft fair. I saw recently like a taco, what was it called? Taco something. Okay, and it's an event, but they're looking for vendors for that. It might be popular, I don't know, maybe, but you can search under groups for vendors, vendor groups. And the reason I tell you to do that is because they usually post in those groups events that they're looking for vendors. That is like the easiest way to find an event, because they know those are vendor groups. So if I have an event going on and I need vendors for that event, it's posted there. And there's multiples locally. You search that, and whatever is local to you is gonna pop up. Like I searched it right now, and I have quite a few to look at that are local. Okay, and they even have online ones. I don't do those online events. I mostly do the ones that they're looking for local vendors. Okay, but they have a lot of different vendor groups. So that's the easiest way to do it. You can even go to your main page on Facebook, like your homepage, and search their vendor or a vendor event, and whatever is, I'm doing the search now. It gives you the option to look for groups, all, people, what have you. So I'm looking at it right now, so that's why I'm reading it off to you. So that's the easiest way to do it. Like I mentioned, when your neighborhood apps, whichever you use, I've seen when they're doing local craft fairs on there, and they're looking for vendors. They call them, sometimes you can do farmers markets. It depends on the market, because some farmers markets do not allow anyone that their product is already made. It's not handmade per se. It's not food that you're growing or whatever. That's why it's farmers market, right? But there is some that do allow for what are we called? MLMs, right? Multi-level marketing. There you go. Okay, so some do allow it. It would just have to be up to the market for you to reach out. Once they post the contact information, reach out and ask them, you know what, I sell Scentsy, would I be allowed to be in this market or not? And they'll tell you right away. I mean, it's a yes or no. Neighborhood app would be the same thing when you see those posted. Church. Now, why do I say church? we all know, well, at least here locally, churches are coming back to doing what they call bazaars, which we call kermes, right? And it's either a kermes or a bazaar. A Christmas fairs. I did some last year at the end of the year, starting in November. I kid you not. Right now, right, we're in June. I still haven't changed my decor. I know I have to get around to it, but we're in June. I'm already booking for September. I'm already going to do a big 3-day church bazaar. I'm already booked for November, like 2 weekends already, with Christmas fairs. Okay, so if you think right now that it's too soon to start talking about this or start looking or reaching out to your local churches, no. They already know what dates they're gonna plan their, whether it's a Christmas bazaar. Right now it's summer, that's what we start seeing right now around here locally. The 3-day bazaars. And they have vendors, they have food, they have entertainment, and they have vendors as far as retail. So we have that, and then the Christmas fairs, those are so popular. Now, here's the thing. I think they changed it now for under compliance that more than one Scentsy consultant can be at an event. Typically, I wouldn't want to be at another event that a Scentsy consultant's at, because you're at the end of the day, you're still competing with another person. And your sales might not go as well depending on location. Because if that person's at the, depending on their location, maybe they get first. So people shop there first by the time they get to your area, to your spot. So for that reason, I really don't. I ask right away if there's another Scentsy person, and if it's a no, then I do proceed to sign up. If they do have one, I typically do not. Just, I know it's not out of compliance anymore, or it's not against policy, but I just tend to not, because you're set, for me, my sales, I don't think I would do as well competing with someone else. You're really competing against each other, but no. Anyways, so that's the first thing I ask. And what was I think? Oh, okay, churches. I said church. What else about churches? Start calling now. Don't wait. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, when looking for an event, let's say you have the event. Okay, you booked it. You got first dibs in. You're the only Scentsy person. Great. So you got the event. Now what? So things to ask. How much is it? Is the fee including everything? Am I going to have to donate a gift to be raffled? Okay, so depending on what type of event, sometimes they ask you for an item to raffle at the event. That happens. So that's why we tell you, ask what the fee is, find out if that's all inclusive, that's all you're going to have to pay, or if there's anything else. Is it indoor, outdoor? Do you have electricity? It might sound funny, but these are things you need to ask, because with ours, we need electricity. Don't get me wrong, I've been at events and I've done it without electricity during the day, right? Because that's easier, but during the night, you're not gonna be seen. So, and our stuff lights up. So if you don't have electricity, that's something to ask. Sometimes they do charge extra if you want a spot that has access to electricity. Okay, so that's another thing. Outdoor, indoor is huge, because this is gonna determine what you're gonna need to take. If you're indoor, pretty much it's gonna be, indoors would be tables and chairs, tablecloth, your products, that's it, okay? If you're outdoor, all those things mentioned, you still have to take chair, poly, table, tablecloth, product. But if you're outdoor, you have to worry about, do you have to take a tent? I would advise you, if you're outdoor, take a tent. You do not want direct sunlight to be hitting your bars. Especially right now, like here locally, we're hitting 100 plus. Right, this whole week, we're hitting 100 plus. I do not need direct sunlight and that heat to be hitting my bars. They will melt, okay? They will melt. I keep getting messages, sorry, I'm like distracted. They will melt, and I tell you because it happened to me. Even when you have a tent and it's that hot, my bars start leaking. They start sweating. So that's why I tell you, be very careful with outdoors and the climate, the temperature, what have you. When you're taking a tent, wind, Here, out of nowhere, it gets windy, okay? So we always have to take tent and wait for the tent to hold it down. Okay, so that's why I tell you, indoor, outdoor is a big difference, and you have to find out what is being included. So when you ask, what is being included? Is it included electricity? Are you providing tables? Do I have to take my own tables? All those things have to come into play. So make sure you ask those questions. What else? And extension cords, well, obviously, if you have access to electricity, extension cord, power strip, what have you, take those things with you, okay? Don't forget, take those things with you. Otherwise, if the outlet's way on the other side, you know, from your cord that you have your display on, then it kind of defeats the purpose of having electricity because you can't reach it. So extension cords, power strip, those are all must because we plug in our stuff. It looks nicer. You're probably saying, do I have to? It looks nicer. When the display is lit up, warmers are on, it looks nicer when it's on. Without light, I mean, they're nice, but some warmers, you need them to be on. Now, the workaround with that is they do sell at Walmart the little, they look like little pucks, like little round things that are battery. They're battery powered. So if you don't have electricity, that can be your other option to put those under the warmer and it looks like it's lit up. It'll give the same effect like if it was lit up because it's a little light, battery operated light, so it lights it up. Okay, so think of those things. What else? I think that's it. I mean, events are not hard. I'm looking at my list, but I wanted to make sure I got those out of the way because those are the main things you need to know. I'm looking at my list: outdoor, indoor, electricity, fee, what is a must. You need chairs, right? You don't want to be standing there. But sometimes we take it as a given that the person doing the event is going to have that for us. But no. Typically, like if it's an outside event, honestly, you have to take everything. I've yet to see that. Sometimes when it's inside events, they'll provide you with chairs and table. You still have to take extension cord, of course, something nice to a cloth to cover your table, and of course your products. Okay, don't overthink events. I think the main thing for events is networking, right? You're trying to meet new people. So even if you don't sell $500 that day, let's say, it's all about networking. It's a successful event if you network. Even if there very few people showed up, network with the vendors. Because remember, they're doing a side hustle too. I have met vendors and had teamies out of vendor events, whether they were vendors or I met them at the event as a customer. Okay, so think about that. Network with the person next to you, on each side, behind you, you know, depending on how your spots are lined up. Network, because you never know how that is going to go. You know, that person you meet, what it's going to turn into: a potential customer, a potential friend, a potential teamie. Okay, and it does happen because that's how I met some of you. So remember that it's all about networking. Try to get information from the people approaching your booth. If you can, do the drawing slips so that way you get their information. What you're trying to do is build your customer base. So that's why I tell you, don't get hung up if you feel that you didn't sell a lot. The whole point was, did you meet people? Did you get contacts? Okay. The drawing slip is the easiest thing because they fill it out with their information. So now you have a way to follow up. Okay. What else? Thinking for events. What else? Oh, and then of course, when the vendors, they'll keep you posted on what the next event is. So if you're having a hard time finding events at the first one you go, ask them. Just make in conversation, just be like, oh, is this the only one you're doing this month? Or have you heard of anything else coming up this week or this month? You know, whatever. And they'll be telling you, like at this last one I was at this weekend, I already got told about 2 that are coming up. Okay, and of course I tell them about the ones I know, right? The church ones that I'm already booked for, I told my vendor friends about it and they're going too. And it's kind of like It's easier that way because if they're next to you, they watch your booth. And that's another thing. Don't get hung up, before I forget. Don't get hung up if it's you by yourself. Okay? Some people get hung up, but like, I can't do it. It's just me. I don't have any help. Who's going to help me set up my tent? Who's going to help me unload? What have you. Trust me. And this goes back to making friends with vendors, right? Whoever's there. Actually, some of my great friends are from me doing events with them for years. So they look out for me. I look out for them. So whenever I go to the restroom, they watch my booth. Whenever I need help setting up my canopy, whoever's next to me or whatever, usually they volunteer. But I do the same, right? If I see somebody by themselves or trying to put up their tent, I help them. It goes back to that. So don't get hung up if it's by yourself and you're thinking, oh my God, how am I gonna, you'll figure it out. Trust me, or the person there will help you out and figure out how to set up a tent. So it's not a big deal. Okay, so make friends. Pretty much make friends with the vendors, and that itself will be a success because you're already meeting new people. They'll keep you in the loop of other events coming up. But network, talk to whoever comes up to your booth, have conversations. If possible, get their information as far as, you know, the drawing slip for a raffle. And it doesn't even have to be something big. I mean, give away a car bar or something. And they don't even know what they're signing up for, right? So it's up to you what you want to give out. But during events too, what I give out, I'm trying to think what else. Product lists. And I've told you this before because I don't want to give a full catalog. Those are like 50 something cents, right? So for cost savings purposes, I buy the product sheets, $150 for $9, and that's what I give away. Okay, that's what I give away to every single person that purchases, or when they ask me for a card, I tell them, here, this has everything in the current catalog, and it has my number and website here, and I pointed it out where it's stamped with my information. Okay, super easy. Don't overthink it. And as you go doing events, you're gonna try to start seeing, okay, what's successful, what events do I want to do again next year, right? Like say it's a Christmas fair. Okay, was this church worth going to? Was it successful? Did I meet a lot of contacts? Did I meet new people? You know, it goes back to that. Did I sell? You know, what have you. So what else do I commonly get asked? Questions about events. But like I said, the best thing you can do is get yourself out there. Just throw yourself out there, sign up for an event, get your basics, table, chair, if it's outside, tent, weights, okay? That's it. And then, yes, it is an investment the first time around because I remember I had to buy a table and a chair. As I've gone, I bought another table. I think now I'm up to 3 tables. Depending how big your space is, that's another thing. Ask how big your space is. Usually outside, they give you a 10 by 10 because it's what your tent is. Okay? So it's usually a 10 by 10 space. So if they give you a 10 by 10, you can fit up to 2-3 tables. You can fit a lot in a 10 by 10. It doesn't seem like a lot, but you can fit a lot in a 10 by 10. Okay? 10 feet by 10 feet. That's what it means. So, but it all comes back to networking, making contacts, who you meet, what have you. Okay, and I bump into people at events, or they're like, well, how can I get started? And I'm gonna tell you, call churches, look at Facebook, look at your neighborhood apps, what's going on around you. I don't recommend events no more because I used to post them, like to say, because I'm usually booked a lot throughout the year. So it might be something I can go to, and then I posted like who's interested or who can go, and then the feedback was like, oh, I didn't even sell that much, oh, you know, there was nobody there, oh, this, all that. So for that reason, I just stay away from it. Find your own events. That way, you know, I can't recommend an event because honestly, we don't know how an event goes. It can be a good one, it can be a bad one. We don't know. It's just like a party, right? When you do a party, whether it's virtual or a house party, you don't know the turnout. You just show up and you hope it goes well, and that's it. We don't know. There's no guarantee it's going to be a good event or a bad event. Okay, so you just have to throw yourself out there. But one thing that I do remember from these bad events that these individuals had was, Oh, well, I had somebody, but I stepped away from my table the time that somebody did come over. Ladies, gentlemen, work your booth, okay? As far as for me, the only time I step away is when I go to the restroom. I do not leave my booth unattended to go shop the other booths, or nah. If I network, it's with the people around me and I'm there in my booth where I can still talk, okay? Man, you know, be at your station at all times, at your booth, okay? Don't do that. 2, don't expect to show up with a bag of testers and sell $500. Okay, I'm not telling you have to carry stock to be successful at an event, but with me locally, I think it would be very hard for me to get orders. To get orders with a bag of testers and just say, hey, okay, go ahead and give me your card information. We all know people do not like to give card information. You just met me at an event. So that's a hard sell. Okay, now if you want them to pay you, maybe, and see, that's another thing. Will they want to pay you? Hopefully they see you when your order comes in. Hopefully you do call them and tell them. So think of those things, okay? So I've had people like that, and I'm like, okay, so what did you take? I took like 5 bars I had at the house, a mini warmer, and you know, what have you. And I get it. If you're just starting off, I get it. You want to do events to network. But just think about that. It's going to be hard, okay? When I sell 1,000 at an event, which I do, I have to take stuff. I don't do orders. I get some orders, right? I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but mostly be ready to cash and carry. Pretty much cash and carry. Because otherwise, if you're going to give me your information, and unless you're gonna pay up front and then call them that it's here because it's a complete stranger, I've never had that experience where they wanna give me the card information, to be honest. But then again, I do cash and carry, so I have plenty of product in stock at the day of the event. That's why I do that, and that's why I sell as much as I do at an event. So I might open it up. I'm still debating or thinking about it. If somebody wants to work it's gonna be the 3-day kermés at a church. That one's gonna be pretty big. So I'm still thinking about if I'm gonna open it up to somebody on my team wants to work with me that day. I'm still debating. It is a big fee. That's another thing, the fees. On that one, since it's a 3-day event, typically they get a lot of traffic on a kermés. It's like a bazaar. So they charge a good amount. Okay, so because of that, that's why I'm thinking about it. Do I want to bring somebody else in for training purposes, or if they want to sell? So those are things I need to consider. Okay, because with my display, it's big enough where I can put 2 or 3 tables to offset that amount, because at the end of the day, you want to sell because you have paid that fee. So to give you an idea, for that one, I paid $250. So that means I would have to sell 1,000 to offset that in my commission, right? The 250, at least 1,000 to offset the 250 I paid for a 3-day event. Now that's decent price. That is the going price. I've seen some that charge even more for a 3-day event. So depending what they think that the traffic's gonna be for their event is the fee. Okay, so if you have questions, comments on this video, go ahead and comment so I can see it and I'll respond, or directly text me or message me. Okay, if you still have more questions, I just wanted to give you the basics on events, and that is the basics. I don't want to start showing like trays, shelves, grids, things like that, because if you're just starting off, that's going to be overwhelming for you to think, I have to get that, I have to buy that grid wall to do an event. No, you don't. You can start off with 1 table and work yourself from there. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. Text me, message me, or comment. Okay, everybody have a good day. Bye.